This is the EVP Podcast.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It is episode 66 of the EVP Podcast, and we are your hosts. I'm Ghosty.
I'm DVO.
I'm Beaker.
And we just got back from a investigation, and our new topic for this week of Asylum 49 in Tooele.
When you say we just got back, it's 1:40 in the morning. We just got back to the studio. And while it's fresh in the mind, we are going to record.
I had a nice little nap on the way here, so I can...
Good for you.
Oh.
We heard you. We
Did
could
you
hear.
fall? What are you doing?
Yeah, I fell asleep again.
Just fall asleep in the chair? I wish I could have napped, but I was driving.
If you had...
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, I'm glad you
Thank you for
didn't
not
nap.
napping.
We're coming at you dead from the studio, not live. We're ghosts. Ghost, he's been a ghost this whole time.
Yeah, I've been floating around all night.
But I think it is a good idea because we had some great evidence you guys are going to be wanting to listen for.
Gosh.
Tonight was
And
exciting.
Tonight was, and this was
I'm
me and Ghosty's
so-
first time
At Asylum 49.
at Asylum 49.
I popped their Asylum cherries.
Yes,
Yeah,
you did.
49 times.
We're so happy you did.
I've been
I'm glad you
several
didn't fall
times.
asleep either.
No. I don't wake up at the ass crack of dawn like you do. I wake up at like 9 in the morning. Anyways, Asylum 49, first place I ever investigated like 8.5 years ago.
Nice.
So I've been several times. I've had plenty of experiences at Asylum 49, but this is the first for you guys.
Yes.
And
But-
it was a good investigation. This was probably one of the better investigations I've been on when it comes to visual activity.
And we did have
Yeah.
our good friend Mark with us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Mark. That was cool. That was a good time.
He's the scientific side of things, like really scientific side of things. So he's really good at. We heard noises in the first room we were in, and
Yeah.
he's really good at debunking and figuring things out. Before we get into the investigation, and before we show everybody that's listening how big of a chicken shit I actually am on an investigation, why don't we talk a little bit about the history?
Yes.
Of
Because it's
Asylum
not
49.
really named Asylum 49.
Right. It actually started off as a house.
House?
It started off as a house. The original Tooele Hospital was built as a residence by Samuel F. Lee, and it was converted into a residence for the elderly in 1913. But he actually built this in 1873.
So 40 years prior.
So 40 years prior, he built the house. Later, 1913, converted into a residence for the elderly and was known as the County Poorhouse. And then later on, became the Tooele Hospital.
40 years later again.
Then reverted back again to an elderly care facility when the new Tooele Hospital was constructed in 1953. And the original building no longer stands. But with the amount of hauntings that are reported from the new structure, one begins to understand just how haunted land can be.
So what is it now? Currently,
So now operating as a haunted attraction known as Asylum 49, the old Tooele Hospital started as private residence, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. The hospital opened 1953, but never received enough funding, so the Tooele Hospital didn't even have a morgue for their dead. They ended up stacking bodies in an unrefrigerated room until the county coroner finally came to sign on their death certificates. Wow.
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 And the new building was built in 1953 and was originally known as the Tooele Army Depot. Some adjustments were made to the building to ensure it provide medical care. At one point, it was hailed as the state-of-the-art facility. These days, half of the newer constructed building operates as a senior living facility, which not anymore.
This is obviously an older article. This Kim Anderson, who owns Asylum 49, actually purchased the entire building about 3 years ago.
He kicked everybody out.
But he purchased the other half back in 2006.
Yeah, the original half were the haunted house side.
And that's where he bought that to convert it into the haunted attraction.
So for a while there, it was actually on one side it was a haunted house, and on the other side it was still assisted living. Mm-hmm. There was still like an old folks home, an active old folks home. And if you've ever seen the Ghost Adventures episode, the first one with Asylum 49, they mentioned that. And they actually showed that there's still patients that lived there at the time. They built a new retirement center there in Tooele, and once they moved all the residents, Kim was able to purchase the entire building.
It's a shopping area, right?
It's a shopping area now. We used
Little
to be
market.
Able to, yeah, it's the Tooele market. They have all sorts of like goods and knickknacks and stuff like that. But 2 years ago, the last time I was there, they only had one hallway that had shops in it, so we were able to investigate the new side. From what I understand, they don't let anyone investigate that side now because they've turned it all into a store. And it looked like when we first got there, we walked into the wrong side because that's where, again, it's been 2 years since I've been there, but it looked like they turned the one part into like a little diner.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, but yeah, looks
Probably the old cafeteria.
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It was the old cafeteria, but it looks like they turned it into like a little diner. But yeah,
And geographically speaking, a block south is a cemetery.
Adjacent, just diagonal, kitty corner, on the same block, just on
Yeah,
the...
it's there's Asylum 49, and then like 2 or 3 houses, and then the Tooele City Cemetery.
Which has a street named Van Otten Street. Very popular name.
Famous name.
And actually, Kim Anderson, when he bought the place, didn't even believe in spirits and didn't think it was haunted. But after spending many hours in there, became a believer.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
So that's a quick history of the
And then
Asylum 49.
there's a lot of reported hauntings and names of spirits and everything, but we want to talk about just our experience. I actually didn't want to learn about any of these other spirits in the building before going in.
they did give us a tour beforehand,
Right,
Which
they
I've
gave us-
been on several times. But
And-
I mean, even our tour guide, he was born in the hospital in 1975.
No, his son.
No, both of them were born
He
there.
was born there in
Yeah,
1975.
his son was born in 1975, and his son,
No.
He was born in 1975. Buck was born in 1975. His son was one of the last kids to be born in the hospital.
And his son just turned 20.
Okay.
So when the hospital shut down, just around 20 years ago, his son was.
I thought he seemed younger. I'm like, oh, you're a lot younger than I think you are. Okay. Yeah, it may sound like his son was the way you said it. I understood. Okay.
No,
That makes
his,
sense.
His son was one of the last people to be born there. He was born 1975.
All right.
Yeah, so with all these different spirits that have been talked about and known about in the side here, I just wanted to go have my own experiences in wherever and just kind of figure things out.
Yeah, I don't think we talked to like any of the spirits that they mentioned on the tour.
So if somebody wants to take a tour of Asylum 49, what do they have to go through? One source only? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
Grim Ghost Tours.
Well, that's who we went through. I believe you can book it directly from the owners. You just go to their website or something like that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's now Grim that's how they do it. They book the venue and then they sell tickets. So,
Got it.
I believe other people do the same as well.
Maybe EVP should do it.
Yeah, it's pricey though.
We'll see.
We'll see about that.
We'll see if it's pricey. I
So
know it is.
we decided, we got to check this out. I've been wanting to go here for a few years.
As I.
Yeah, me
and
too.
Just I never look up the tickets ever, and so this was just a good opportunity. We did it, and we finally made it happen.
Yeah, we bought our tickets like 3 months ago.
Yeah, we did. Oh, I keep falling down.
It was actually after one of the recordings. I'm like, hey guys, I'm like squeaky scissor arms. I'm like, I know you want to go to Asylum because they did one back in January that we missed out on. We didn't decide soon enough. So as soon as I saw it pop back up, because I follow Grim Ghost Tours, they were the first company I ever did. Asylum 49, like I said, 8.5 years ago, the first place I ever investigated, it was through Grim Ghost Tours. I've done a lot with these guys. They're actually really cool. They get into a lot of cool places, and they're decent priced as well. But yeah, I follow what investigations they have going. I saw that this was available, and I said, we're doing it.
And we did it.
And we did it.
So, should we start off with the first location that we
Yeah, so
started?
Mark felt like he saw a shadow go into this little area that was just, I don't know, like they were doing some construction or just had a bunch of construction material out.
So there's a lot of the props still up for the haunted attraction. And there are some areas that are cut off from the haunted attraction that is kind of just used for storage stuff and just kind of walkway paths or whatever. But this area just kind of had some, behind the scenes stuff and construction areas. And we just started recording or just kind of set up in there at first. And
Well, yeah, the reason why we went back there is because on the tour, Mark and I both kind of saw a shadow figure standing in one corner of that room. So when the tour finished and they let us break off to go do our thing, we went straight to there.
And that seemed like I went straight to it with the K2 meter.
Yes.
And with the K2 meter, I walked right up to where I didn't even know what you guys had seen yet or where it was. So walked right up to it and boom, found it.
Yep.
And it seemed to start backing away. And I was kind of chasing it down, and it was pretty interesting. And started using the flux. Got a little bit of reactions out of the flux. And we were getting some reactions out of the K2 in that area. And I think that was it for that little spot.
And just real quick, if anyone's brand new listening to us or brand new listening to Paranormal Podcast, what is a K2 and what does it do?
So most people know the K2, and it just reads EMF, and it has like 5 lights starting from green to red, and will light up. It has one green light, and as more EMF spikes, it lights up more lights to all the way to red.
And red's rare unless you're like on a hot wire, right?
But most people already know what a K2 is. If you're listening to this, you don't know what a K2 is, get some knowledge.
In case people are new. And then a flux capacitor.
The flux capacitor belongs on the DeLorean. No, this is the kind of a new device from Ghost Stop, and it has a sensor that's on both sides. It will read if something comes near it, if the temperature changes to high or low near it, it'll also kind of go off. And I'm starting to wonder now. Remember some of the times when it would kind of just do that one little beep? I should check to see if that meant the temperature changed.
So it's a new device that you just got, Ghosty. It's you've had it for maybe a month, maybe 2.
Yeah, I've only used it twice now.
And so we're still trying to figure it out, but it's supposed to also pick up
Temperature changes. As well
that
as...
makes sense, because there was a couple times in some of the rooms I saw it just flashing red real quick.
Yeah, and I think that means the temperature going down or up. Could be up, because it was hot as shit in there today.
Yeah.
All right, where did we go from that spot?
Crazy.
Yeah, we went a little crazy. We went to a couple different hospital rooms.
Yes. Yeah, we went to a couple of the rooms.
We went to the one room that was just like off of the main entrance, and then that's where I had to shut the door.
Oh yeah, because Ghosty, when we first entered, Ghosty, you felt something in the first room to the left.
Yes, down the hallway that had all the hospital rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And
so we went in there, and right away the K2 meter also started spiking, and then went away, and then nothing happened. Beaker felt something was at the door, wanting to kind of come in, maybe, but.
Well, I had him shut the door so randos wouldn't walk in there and interrupt our investigation. But after we shut the door, I did have Ghosty move to the other side of the room because it felt like the spirit was standing there, not right next to the door, and wasn't sure if he wanted to come in and talk or not. And that's when it was shortly after that. I think is when the flux went off.
Yes,
the green side went off, and we couldn't get it to go again. I think after we finished in that room, we kind of decided it was like maybe the spirit was like trying to shift in the room and accidentally set it off. It was kind of like, what did I do?
Oh yeah, I forgot that first location that we started investigating. It did go off on command on one time when I was asking if it would please interact with us. The moment I said that, it lit up, but it didn't keep reacting. But I just forgot about that.
I'm going to jump ahead on this real quick. So from that room, a little ways down, maybe 1 or 2 doors down, we went to another room, kind of investigated in there, and then I don't remember which one of you two thought there was something in the back room. Was it Ghosty?
Yeah.
And so we went back in there, and both Ghosty and Mark had their K2s. And what kind of happened with those?
Oh, they started going ballistic.
Yeah, Ghosty and I walked in the room. We set up on one side. I sat in a chair, and yeah, when they first walked in there, before the K2s even started going off, I'm like, by the way, the spirit's right where you guys are standing. And it was like right then the K2 started going crazy.
Yeah, so Mark had it in the corner. And that's where Beaker said it's right there in the corner. Mark's K2 went crazy, and then it kind of seemed to jump over to where Ghosty was, but there was a hospital bed there with a prop of a dead zombie or something. And you had it there, and it started going off right in front of you.
Yeah, and it was just bouncing. It started kind of going back and forth.
Red.
No, it was staying solid red for and it kept hitting it. It would stay solid for a few seconds, drop down, and then keep shooting up.
And then Mark he had like a sense that it was maybe like gremlin-like. He was like crawling all over the walls and the ceiling, trying to get away from us.
This is true. That's what happened.
So in that room, yeah, we didn't get much after that.
Yeah, after that, that lasted maybe a minute.
Yeah, I set up my laser grid, and we kind of investigated a little bit. It was when because I have the millimeter, which is like a fancy EMF detector that has a temperature gauge on it.
Yeah.
But it also has the REM feature, which you turn that feature on. It has a green light on it, and when something breaks the electromagnetic field around the antenna on it, it will light up and beep.
Mm-hmm.
When we were getting ready to leave that room, it kind of started beeping a little bit.
Yes.
And it was like, I remember I was scratching my eyebrow and I put my hand down and it went off. And so we thought it might have been me, but...
There was a moment, because I watched it. It was a moment you went to scratch your eyebrow. It was the moment you touched yourself, it went off. It was very, like, in sync with that.
So we were trying to debunk it, or see if it was me that set it off. And, I mean, I was probably a good I'm a massive man. Wingspan is huge. But it was more than an arm's length away from me. And I had to get pretty damn close to actually set it off.
Yeah. Yeah, it went off kind of sporadically.
That was that room. It was sort of exciting at first, and then kind of a little bit when we
just the being able to kind of chase that the way the K2 is moving up that zombie body thing. Like it's kind of started about halfway up its body, spiking the K2, and then kind of disappearing, and then as we're moving the K2s up the body, it was kept lighting up, and then until it just stopped.
Mm-hmm. And then we go to the end of the very hallway of this hallway.
Room 6.
Room 6 there. Who's in the room 6 again?
Wesley?
Wes.
No, he's all the way at the far end. Room
That's
1.
what we're talking about. No, that's 6. By the exit door.
No, room 6 was the one that we had all the... Or was that room 3?
Room 6 is where you stood in the doorway.
Okay, that was the room. Okay. All right. And then we didn't really get much there.
So Beaker felt like he was in that room?
It felt like he was in the back corner. So this room, when I've been there in the past, that room is open. You can walk in the room. This time they had it full of props and stuff, like a storage area. And to me, like, we had Ghosty stand in the doorway. I've seen people play this game before. I've seen it work. I don't know if it's actually like the people in their head, they're making themselves do this. But apparently if you stand in the doorway, you can ask the spirit. And I believe his name was Wesley.
Pull me in or push me out.
Yeah, if you want me in the room, you can pull me in. If you don't, push me out. And we got nothing. And to me, it felt like he was standing in the back corner and wanted really nothing to do with us. And it seemed like he was upset that all that stuff was
Get all this shit out of my room. How about that?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I wouldn't blame him.
So we didn't stay there very long. So then we went to room 5.
And no, you've had an experience with room 5, right? Is that right, Beaker?
Yes. So in the past, they now have it set up like a little maze thing, and there's a hole cut in the wall that attaches to room 4. It used to not do that. But there was a negative, inhuman entity that used to reside in that room. And I didn't want to go in that room because of that. And come to find out that it was not in that room anymore, because of the plasticky things hanging from the ceiling that made the maze. I mean, I said I didn't want to go in there, and DVO, you even said, like, well, I don't think it would hide in there with all this crap.
Yeah, I think it'd be smothered out.
Yeah, it wasn't in there. It was in the next room. It was in room 4. And it did come over into room 3 at one point. Again, these are not closed off from each other anymore. There's holes in the wall.
Yeah, you can connect you walk through to each room.
Because, again, it's a haunted attraction, so they made it easier for the guests to go through.
So we all met up in room 4.
Oh, room 4.
We started 4 first, and we weren't really feeling anything. Mark is like, we need to go to the next room.
Yeah.
Because like when you guys were first setting up in room 4, Mark saw an orb across the wall
with his bare ass eyes.
With his bare ass eyes.
That's the way to see an orb.
Yeah, he saw an orb. We were trying to recreate it. Because there was like a gray thing on the wall. He thought it might have been a reflective surface, like a mirror or something. It was just like, it was part of the wall, but it was like kind of stuccoed a little bit, but it wasn't reflective. So we couldn't kind of pinpoint where or how or what created the light anomaly that he saw. So when we were trying to investigate in room 4, we weren't really getting anything, but Mark's like, let's go to room 3.
And I'm so glad he did.
Yeah.
So I wanted to end purposely on this room.
Yeah, because we needed to.
So we jumped around a little bit out of order for this, because in room 3...
This is the order we went.
Okay.
Sure.
Where do we went?
No, this is the order of the rooms we went through.
No, we didn't. But okay.
Boop.
So we ended in room 3.
Yeah, we ended in room 3. We didn't go
On purpose.
After that. Yeah. We didn't go to other rooms after that.
So we have quite a few devices out here at this point. So Beaker has his voice recorder going.
Yeah.
Mark has a K2. Ghosty has a K2 on the floor and the Flux on the floor.
Pretty sure I had my REM pod on the floor.
Yes, you did.
At the end, yeah, you did. At the end
this was after. Before, I did have it just set up as the
on a tray.
On a tray, just
you had your REM pod on a tray. That's right. And so we have quite a few devices hanging out in this room, and were things spiking at that point? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, the K2s were going nuts.
The K2s were going nuts.
The K2s kept going off, and they were at first was going mine and then Mark's, and
so
then
Ghosty's
they started
on the floor, Mark's on a
like halfway up the table or something. And then they started syncing up, and they were in sync with each other.
And I'd say, 5 feet away from each other?
No, 10 feet plus. Plus mine's being on the floor, his about up elevated.
They were far away.
Okay. Okay.
Ghosty said they're far away.
All right. So the cases are far away, but they're like lighting up at the same time.
Yes.
Which is weird, and they were spiking red.
Yes. That's right. They were about 10 feet apart. Because one was on the floor next to room 2, and the other one was like in the middle of the room.
Okay,
exactly. Yeah. I know my shit.
So they're quite a good distance, 10 feet, but they're lighting up at the same time. These K2s. Very, very interesting. Now we decided to use the SB7, right?
Yes.
That we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And what happened? Like, was the speaker not strong enough?
Well, we went and got the speaker out of the car.
But were we doing something? Were you using something before we got the?
So I was just trying to go off of the speaker on the back of the SB7.
Okay.
The speakers on the speaker on this. I mean, it's not very big. It's not very loud. Okay. So it's usually you want to have like an external speaker attached to it, or like headphones, because there is like something we have not done, and I would like to do an investigation.
Oh, I know what you mean.
You blindfold the person that's using the SB7, and then have them wear headphones.
Got
it. Like noise canceling headphones, so you don't hear the questions that are being asked, but you tell the group like the responses that you're hearing.
Yeah.
To see if they correlate.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the speaker's not very strong.
So you guys, the two of you decided to go. Let's go get the Bluetooth speaker in the car.
He's like, I don't mind going and getting it, and I went with him because it's my car, and I didn't want to give him the keys.
I wouldn't trust him.
I don't trust the fool.
I would have drove home.
Yeah, he would have left us there.
Left us there.
It's about a 50-minute drive.
I was tired.
I was ready to go.
He would have slept.
The Beaker said, "No, I'm going."
Well, this is autopilot, right? I gotta go get something at my house. Speaker's at my house. It's weird.
It's not your Tesla.
So the two of you leave, and myself, DVO, and Mark are in the room by ourselves.
The three of you?
He's schizophrenic.
Well, just because they're not sure who's talking. It's me, DVO. 'Tis I. I'm with Mark. And so typically me and Mark are there, and I go back to my old tricks that seem to work out. And so this will be our first evidence. Beaker, get this queued up if you don't mind.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Play it. It's the old shave and a haircut.
If you've followed us on YouTube, we've done the shave and a haircut before. I have our Tooele, not Tooele, where were we at? Family Tree. Shave and a haircut. That is on YouTube. You can find our Family Tree shave.
I think we did this actually at Benson Grist. I got this at Benson Grist as well that we played last year. During the episode, I had this as evidence.
So it's something that DVO does. So,
but tunes can't resist it.
No, they can't. So we're gonna play this off of a Bluetooth speaker here on my audio recorder because, like I said, or we said, we're straight off the investigation. I haven't had the time to plug this into my computer or anything yet. So here we go. This
Raw
is
footage.
raw footage. No editing here. Good luck.
Pull it right up to the speaker, though.
Hold on.
Any minute.
I started it too soon. Why isn't that?
Do you know what shaving
Oh, there it
and
is.
haircut?
Oh, it's so loud.
There it is. That was it.
That was you. You're gonna have to do it much louder than that.
That's Mark talking.
Very faint.
Right there's a middle. So right there was a metal clang right before Mark was about to talk.
Okay,
It sounded like metal on metal
Yeah.
in the room with us. And before we did this shave and a haircut, before and after, there has been no knocking noise in this room.
I went too far back.
It's okay. Baker's going to try to get to it again. That's right. So this is our first evidence of the night. So you hear a faint knock sound. There's a nice gap before we hear that knock sound.
Oh, that's so annoying.
And then you'll hear a metal clang.
Oh, I went too far. Oh, it's so loud. Oh, professional podcasting at 2 in the
No,
morning.
it sounds loud for us with our headphones right here, but when people listen, they're going to be able to hear it a lot better now.
I know. Okay. So, no, why is it doing that? I will fight you, fucking thing. Okay, so
Whoa.
this is
Your
after
mom's
you've.
listening.
No, she's not. This is after. Do you know shaving a haircut? You can kind of hear 2 knocks. It's very quiet. If I hit play.
There it
Right
is.
there.
If that was you. You're gonna have to do it much louder than that. Come on, very faint.
Right there.
So yeah, right before
That was a
Mark.
weird metallic sound. Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Do it again.
Come from behind. Let's try it again. Shave and haircut.
Boom.
One real quiet knock right there.
It was instantaneous. So it was ready. It was primed. We had trained it already once. And when you hear me do the dun 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 dun, boom, you hear that knock right away. Can you do that last one again?
Yeah.
Not too much.
Okay. Well, I probably
Weird
went back.
metallic sound. Yeah. Come from behind. Let's try it again. Shave and haircut.
Right there. It was real
Did
quick.
you hear something else?
There's people talking.
There was
There was
people
people
talking.
talking.
Okay.
I mean, there was a lot of people there, so it was most likely someone.
Yeah, it was
in
people
the hallway.
talking. We had kind of marked it at some point during the talking that there was
shortly
voice in the
after that.
background. But there were people down the hallway, so if you think you hear other voices, it is about people.
So then, after Beaker and I returned with the speaker,
We tell you guys about it.
yeah, that just had happened.
And again, right, there's no knocking the rest of the time. It was just
Yeah, just when
During
you did
this.
the shave and haircut.
So then you guys tell us about it as we walk in. Then we hook up the SB7. We put the millimeter down on the floor.
Oh, and then during the SB7, I actually came up with some new questions.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I was going to get to.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So we set the millimeter down on the floor so we can have more kind of devices near where the K2s were and where the flux, because the flux had gone off a couple times as well. So everything's kind of near the doorway between room 3 and room 2. And
Yes.
and then we start using the SB7, and then it's going through the radio stations, going through real quick. We start asking questions. You asked it what it had for breakfast last, and it said beef, which means eggs and potatoes.
Potatoes, apparently.
Inside joke with us.
Yeah, no, I'm putting it at the end. If you're listening to this, I don't know if you didn't start recording yet, but I do have it on video.
I was half asleep still talking
It'll be,
about beef.
it'll be the end of YouTube. You'll see Ghosty being like, that means steak, the eggs and potatoes. So yeah, beef. I'm pretty sure is what it sounded like it did. And that I might be on this. Yay for, I don't know where is it.
It was when you were on the other, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We
probably need to listen to that and kind of.
Yeah, we didn't try to look for this one
No,
yet. Maybe
we didn't.
we forgot
Well,
about
I-
this till just now.
Well,
For breakfast last.
oh,
try it again.
What did you have for breakfast last night?
Oh, yeah.
So luckily for us, that was at the start of the very next file.
That was good. Good job.
I have my audio recorder set up to do 15-minute increments. It already splits it for me. So funny enough, it's right at the
Let's
start of
listen
the
to
next
that one
file.
again.
Yeah.
Okay, let me hit back.
What did you have for breakfast last night?
Your beef.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean clearly that means eggs and potatoes.
And that means eggs and potatoes in my book.
Because I started asking, I'm like, oh, did you have steak and potatoes? And it was kind of hard. We weren't really getting responses.
No, you're saying steak and eggs.
steak and eggs.
And I was thinking in my
I'm
head,
thinking potatoes. Because he said potatoes.
well, it doesn't have to be eggs. It could have been potatoes.
It could have been
What
potatoes.
I meant to say. And instead I'm all, beef means steak and beef
potatoes.
and, or what did I say? Eggs and
Eggs
potatoes.
and potatoes. Beef means eggs and potatoes.
Oh, you guys lost everybody. No.
But anyways,
They're still with us.
if you're still with us.
Good evidence is happening here.
One of the craziest things happened right after this. Right after this
the
happened.
millimeter started going
No,
off.
the K2s were going nuts.
Okay,
The K2s were just going ballistic. In sync, going to red and holding red. And then the millimeter.
Again, they're 10 feet away from each other.
Yeah, and then I start. As that's happening, all of a sudden the millimeter starts going off as if something's holding the tip.
So yeah, at some point I put my I turned on the REM pod feature and put it in between the K2 meters.
So yeah, so now it's got the
And keep in mind, we're not standing anywhere near this.
yeah,
Right.
we're all the way back, and now the millimeter's going off in the REM pod mode, and I'm recording that. I stopped recording.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything
Okay.
yet.
Wait, hold on. I think I have.
But
this is-
with the SB7 going,
And if you don't know, SB7 is what we're listening to. That's what you hear, that white static noise. That's the SB7.
and we're playing it through the speaker, mind you.
So-
Well, Beaker goes and plugs everything.
Yeah, I unplugged the speaker. I turned the SB7 off. I unplugged the speaker.
and we hear something.
So I'm holding the Bluetooth speaker in one hand, and I've also got the auxiliary cord in that same hand.
The auxiliary cord's not plugged
It's
in.
not plugged into anything. I'm just holding the speaker with the auxiliary cord,
And mind you, the K2s were going nuts.
and so is the
Solid
REM pod.
red.
And you
REM
probably
pod's going off for a solid 10 seconds.
so this I'm probably starting this like 20 seconds too early.
Sorry, real quick. And then at this point, do they stop? Did they go off and then
The K2
well,
stopped. The millimeter stopped. It
So-
was
And
quiet
then we
for a
hear something
second.
else.
So you'll hear them all stop, and we heard Ghosty go wow.
Wow.
And I'm like, you hear me say, that's really cool. Thanks for doing that, or some shit like that.
And then,
And
just so
then-
you know, you're gonna hear something, and you're gonna hear some cussing. So
Because I've never sworn on the podcast before.
Yeah, this was something that caught us off
Beaker's
guard.
mom is listening, so I just want to warn her. What her son is saying.
And make noise.
Closer.
Well, I
Or you
think.
just touch the other green lights that you've been touching.
Okay, so this is
Whatever works for you.
right before all the REM pod stuff.
That was very cool.
Or is it?
No,
There we
it's
go.
Here's the REM
Like
pod.
that.
So that
Sorry,
means
this is-
something's touching it.
Sorry, this is probably a little annoying, but
Wow.
wow.
That noise means it's being touched right now. Yep.
Get closer.
Thank you.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. From where I'm recording, that's about 7 feet away. I'm just zoomed in.
Right.
What the hell was that? That wasn't you? Take it. Let me turn it off. I thought that was your belly or something.
Closer.
Was it Dale? No. Did you connect it to your phone? No.
Okay, go ahead. Rewind it again.
Was like, go use speakers.
All right, I want to play this again for everyone. Then we'll give a little bit more context of what's happening.
That noise means it's being touched right now. Yep. Thank you.
that's awesome. Thank you.
From where I'm recording, that's about 7 feet away. I'm just zoomed in.
What
What the hell was that?
Okay.
That wasn't you? Take it. Let me turn it off.
Okay. All right. Let's give some story what's happening, and then we'll play it again. So it's going off. Ghosty's excited. He's like, "Wow, wow!" you hear me kind of? I'm zooming in because I'm trying to record this as well. So I'm saying from where I'm standing because again it's pitch black in this room. Let's remind everyone it's pitch black. The only light is like the green lights of our meters and devices. So I'm zooming in, saying, "Oh, from where I'm standing to where the device is about 7 feet." Who said? Did someone say anything after that? No, because you hear it going, right?
You're going, yeah,
And then
it's going off, and then
they stop.
it stops, and I go, "That was awesome, thank you."
Yes, okay, that's what I was looking for. Yep. And then you hear wow. A growl comes through. Ghosty, myself, and Mark all think it's Beaker.
Because he's holding the speaker, and this growl comes from the
It
speaker.
came out of the speaker. And keep in mind, I'm
It's
holding
not
this.
plugged in. So you've got the speaker in your left hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
and
was in my left
in,
hand.
in your right hand is the end of the auxiliary cord plugged into nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we hear a growl. We all gotta think it's Beaker for a second. He goes, "Take it." That's what you hear him. You hear him say, "Take it."
How do you turn it off?
Well, I'm surprised because I was like thinking you just like burped, your belly rumbled real loud in my ear.
And I thought his belly was grumbling. Like he was like, "We just ate." So I'm like, maybe he's got an upset stomach.
Yeah, I was like, dude, there's people here, man.
And you hear Beaker cuss. You hear Mark at the same time go, "What the hell?" And
No, I think that I said something too. I think we all kind of got startled by this.
Well, I mean,
But
they
no,
heard
not me.
both
I didn't
of
think.
them.
I thought it was really his stomach, so I didn't think much about it. You hear me saying in all that chaos, like I thought that was your stomach, because I thought his belly was growling very loudly.
So now that we kind of laid that out, let's play that one more time so people can hear this growl.
but with the funny part is that I'm thinking now, in hindsight, what must be going through Beaker's mind as he's holding the speaker, because we all think it's Beaker's belly or him burping, so we didn't think nothing of it. We're like, damn,
Well,
bro.
going through his mind is get this thing away from
Yeah,
me.
this thing's possessed.
Yeah, I wanted nothing to do with it at that point. Like, you literally hear me take it. How do you turn it off?
Yeah, take
Like,
it, take it.
I did not want to hold that thing anymore. I've been investigating for, like I've said this several times, 8.5 years. This is one of the craziest things ever happened to me because, like we said, it's not
It was-
plugged into anything.
And this all kind of happened simultaneously with
Yeah.
the K2s all kind of going haywire,
2 K2 meters going banana, going spiking red.
distant from each other,
10
and
feet away.
simultaneously going off, like as if something is setting them off right next to them. Like this was a huge span that was
Yeah.
setting those off to go do that.
In between them is the millimeter that you have to get within, what, an inch for it to
Yeah,
go
you
off?
have to pretty
close.
much almost grab that.
And like I
it-
said, it's like 7 feet away
and
from us.
if you listen to it, it almost looks like it was beep beep beep. So it's like it kind of tests it and then holds it. So listen to that. It kind
Okay.
of gives it a little bit of a test and then holds it steady, and then lets go, kind of touches it again, and then goes to the
then it goes to the
speaker.
speaker, which is towards us.
In my hand. Yep.
Yeah, in Beaker's hands.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I also, like, as I was handing off the speaker, I felt like something was standing right next to me. And I was just like, I mean, it was after this all went down. We'll play it again.
That was very cool. Yeah, just like that. You got it. Oh man. Look at that. Wow. That noise means it's being touched right now.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you.
From where I'm recording it, that's about 7 feet away. I'm just zoomed in.
What the
What the hell was that?
Yeah.
That wasn't you? Take it. Let me turn it off. I thought that was your belly or something.
All right. One more time. That's crazy. That's nuts.
Being touched right now.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you.
From where I'm recording it, that's about 7 feet away. I'm just zoomed in.
What the
What the hell was that? That wasn't you? Take it. Let me turn it off. I thought that was your belly or something.
Oh, that's good. That's good stuff.
Jesus. So
It's good comedy relief and good evidence.
Yeah.
You know what we didn't do? Go running out of there like scared little pussies that you see on TV.
No, it's a couple minutes later. I'm just like, guys, I'm gonna go outside for a second.
But you walked out like a man.
Well, I also had to go to the bathroom. Understandably so. No,
He pissed himself.
I didn't. But
this type of visual evidence, this is the stuff that I love to see. Like when we go on investigations, we have personal experience sometimes that you can't actually show.
Yeah.
It's just more of like, this happened to me. This was my personal experience here. This type of shit's really cool, where it was just like all visual. We're all experiencing this together.
Yeah.
We're all seeing it together. It's not just what somebody's feeling. And
I have it on camera.
yeah. So it's not just going off of, like when you feel a presence in the room and you can say it's right there, or if I feel something, that's different.
yeah,
This being visual for all of us to experience together, this is the type of shit I like.
Yeah. It was incredible.
And
The
with as
sequence
much
of
as we
events.
got, and I was kind of thinking, damn, there's a lot of people here tonight. I hope that we have quiet, like we can get in our own space and have quiet.
And we did
That's
close
why
the
we
door.
kept shutting the door.
Yeah, we did close the door.
And people were pretty respectful about walking by quietly and not bothering us.
Yeah,
And
Because I'm sure we were loud with all of our talking and questioning.
we're famous, damn it.
Yeah,
Well,
we can do
it's-
that. We have shirts that prove it.
well, in the first room that we were in, there was some people that joined us, and they started whispering, and I just like, hold up. I'm like,
You get the hell out. You get the hell out.
You're out. You're out of here.
No refunds.
Do you work here? No. No. So when you're investigating, when you're doing audio evidence, one of the first things that they should have told people, or they should know, is that don't whisper. When you're collecting audio evidence, when you're trying to get EVPs, a lot of the times, like unless you're getting a really solid Class A EVP, like the one we played a couple weeks ago with Zach Baggins, where they asked how many people were in the room, and you hear very clearly it said 2.
2.
That would be a Class A EVP. But when you're getting a B or C, they come across as whispers sometimes. So when you're collecting audio evidence and you got people whispering and you go back to the audio, unless you're tagging it when it happens, you're not going to know. You're going to think maybe you got an EVP.
Right.
So I explained to these people, and I know sometimes it sounds like I'm being rude, but what I'll do is I'll look right at them and say whispering for the recording, and then explain to them like why I'm saying this. And I straight up told them, I'm like, you're more than welcome to just talk in your normal voice.
As you're wagging your finger in their face.
Don't do this. 2 fingers across the nose. No. But yeah, I mean, that was probably the craziest part of the night. The last room that we were in, we had 3 K2s.
This is the X-ray room. Is this right?
Yeah, the X-ray room.
the X-ray
so we're in
room.
the X-ray room on this last one.
Yeah, so we didn't end in room 3.
Well, I meant down that hallway.
Down that hallway.
Yeah,
that
down
was,
the hallway of hospital rooms.
Okay.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Yes, before we left, we ended in the X-ray room, and we're getting K2s going crazy again.
not all 3 of them.
All 3, and they were all spiking. And we even checked; they were on this old hospital table or bed, and it wasn't powered on. It wasn't creating any power. There's no power in that room whatsoever.
That's why it's
And-
hot as hell. There's no air
Right,
conditioning
no
or anything.
AC in there. And these things, all the K2s were going nuts. And at first it was just marks going off, and then I kind of put mine near it, and I was getting some going off, and then I went under the bed, and it was spiking a little bit more, and it kind of seemed like something reached out and touched it, because all of a sudden it just goes boom, spikes red and holds for a second. And Mark's didn't, and his was right above mine. But a little bit later, after we set all 3 of ours up, they were all going off simultaneously together.
Yeah, well, at first, like, you guys had yours on the bed. I was holding mine, standing behind you. And you couldn't see mine. I know DVO could see
I
it.
got on video.
But all 3 of our K2s were going off at the same time. And then it got to the point where I actually set mine on the bed as well, but up a little bit higher on
Yes,
like
by
it's
the flux.
like it's by the flux. They had like a little stand or something on the bed. So mine was up a little bit higher, but it's still like the whole time when it wasn't just one of them that would go off. All 3 would go off at the same time. They'd all hit the same colors. What I thought was interesting, on the other side of the room, I had also set up the millimeter with the RAM pod, and I have a different EMF meter that is backlit green, but if there is a significant change in EMF, it will light red and beep. And I know at one point when we're all watching the K2 meters go off, my other EMF meter did light
I
up
remember
red
you
and beep.
mentioning that, yeah.
On
You
the
said
other,
that only goes off with significant change. Yeah.
And it was on the other side of the room. It wasn't near the K2s. And then I think at one point the millimeter, the REM pod feature
Yes,
started going
it
off
did.
as well.
There was a lot of
Again,
activity.
it was as I was like trying to clean some stuff up, or I think I was getting my SB7 out or something. And so we verified that it wasn't me setting it off. Again, it was something we showed that like you had to be really close. And I was probably about 2 feet away from it.
And this was what was crazy about the place too, was that when the K2s, they just stayed green for the most part, unless you actually go up to something that is giving off EMF. But using that on green and walking around the room and finding a spirit and then being able to kind of chase it around, because once you it was almost like you poke them with it and they're just like, they back away from it and then they keep moving away from you and you got to keep chasing. Where are you going? Where are you going?
Come back here.
And then until it just kind of disappears and you kind of feel the area out again where you were getting the red hits, whereas it's spiking and nothing anymore. It like leaves. And then for that to happen like that, where you have to like kind of pinpoint it, and then all of a sudden we're in a room where the K2s are spread out, and all of a sudden they're all going off crazy. Like, this thing has to have a lot of energy to give off.
Yeah.
Like, insane amounts of energy.
I did just get a warning. The battery on the Mevo camera is getting low.
Oh, okay. Well,
So we are
great.
45 minutes in. I mean, that was the last. I mean, the only other thing that we're getting ready to leave. I know you went up to the cemetery real quick.
Yeah, just for content.
I went back in because I was saying goodbye to Buck. He's someone that I've known for 8 years that I've been doing this. He works with Grim Ghost Stores. I couldn't find him, but I did end up down the hallway by room 6, and there was someone that's like, "You can feel people, right?" And I started rubbing her shoulder, and I'm like, "Yes, I can." But then she asked me if there was a spirit with her, and I kind of gave her a quick little reading. Was able to confirm, yes, there was a spirit, and she's like, "Do you know who it is?" I said, "I'm getting like sister connection, not exactly sure how that correlates with you." And then I told her about how tall the spirit was, the color of hair and everything, and she seemed to be agreeing with everything I was saying. And then she's like, can you tell how she died? And I said, all I'm getting is something with the car, and it was an accident. I'm like, I don't know any more detail other than that. And I just, as I said car and I said accident, I saw the girl's face light up. So what it ended up being was her grandfather's sister and her boyfriend. So it was the sister that was there, her grandfather's sister. Apparently her and her boyfriend had actually, I don't know if they were sleeping in a car or something, but they accidentally died from carbon monoxide poisoning in a car.
Interesting.
And then that was the end of the night. And then we came home.
Oh, interesting.
Well, yeah, I think we should go through, see if there's any other evidence on there and place any more EVPs if we have them.
We should.
But very eventful
That was
investigation.
That was probably the most visual investigation I've ever been on.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of like personal experiences, but that's okay because this was cool.
Yeah.
We all got to experience this together. So, high fives.
High five.
Slap your hands.
Slap hands. Okay.
All right, y'all. Well, we'll wrap that up. Go so you don't play that.
Peace out, butterflies.
Whoa, bye.
Wow.
This is the EVP Podcast.
You guys like my new questions? What month were you born and what you have for breakfast? Those are my new questions I just came up with today.
Congratulations. Do you want
Did you like
chocolate ice
them?
cream?
Did you like them though? Those are good
Yeah.
questions.
I ran with it.
We got beef come through.
Do you have steak and eggs? I ran with it.
Beef could have been potatoes and eggs, or potatoes and beef.
Beef could have been potatoes and eggs.
Beef means potatoes and eggs.
Yeah, but potatoes and eggs, you big dummies. God.